discussion. Chitraketu Maharaja's story. Shukdev Goswami is just told Parikshit. So yeah, we are just continuing discussion from the last time. I'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna everyone. Um, very
Hare
happy to be back. Very happy for this Sangha again, and we were at very interesting discussion last time. Shukdev Goswami is just told Parikshit Maharaj about the story of Vritrasur, who was ferocious demon and was giving pain to whole world devatas and all the residents on all the planets because of his ferocious ferocious form and his power, and no one was able to stop him. And he had a fight with Indra where he, in the end, Indra killed Vritrasur. But throughout all this episode, uh, Vritrasur expressed exemplary characteristics of a devotee, very rare to find in this world. In the fifth verse, it explains that how rare it is to have a Narayana Parayana devotee who is completely surrendered to the Narayana and Lord Narayan, and who understands the tattva of pure devotion. So Parikshit Maharaj is really surprised and intrigued that what's happening here. He is a demon. He's against devatas, and he's doing whatever he can with his full force, trying to trouble devatas, and still he's at the highest consciousness possible. Even so much so that when he's dying, still he's remembering Lord Vishnu, and he is even inspiring Indra to serve Lord Vishnu. So Parikshit Maharaj is very curious, and then he asks question about what is the story of this devotee Vritrasur, and how come he reached that level of consciousness. So in coming few verses, we will be seeing this conversation moving forward, and then story of Chitraketu. Shukdev Goswami will be narrating story of Chitraketu Maharaj and the pastime. So we will start from verse 6 today. Yeah, so any reader, please.
Prabhuji, I can read because Kamesha Prabhu is not here.
Okay.
I'll read.
Yes, Prabhu, please. Yeah.
Vritrastu sa katam papaha sarvalokopatapanaha ittam dridamati Krishna asit sangrama ulbane. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Translation. Vritrasura was situated in the blazing fire of battle and was an infamous, sinful demon, always engaged in giving troubles and anxieties to others. How could such a demon become so greatly Krishna conscious? Purport. Prabhuji, can you scroll down a little bit, please? It has been described that a Narayana Parayana, a pure devotee, is rarely found even among millions and millions of persons. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj was surprised that Vritrasura, whose purpose was to give trouble and anxiety to others, was one of these devotees, even on a battlefield. What was the reason for Vritrasura's advancement. Okam karoti vachalum pangum langayate girim yat kripatam hamande Shri Gurum Dinata. So it's a very nice verse which actually talks about internals and externals. Externally, one may appear to be like an infamous, sinful demon, but within his heart, he was completely Krishna conscious. So typically, as humans, we have three levels of consciousness. We have the external consciousness, and then there is the subconsciousness, and there are certain things that we are unconscious of. So most karmi people, they just focus on the externals, and that itself is their consciousness. But at the subconscious level, whatever we are at a deeper level, we are because of our past karma, of certain things that have happened in the past. And that is what we will see later on. Who was this Vitrasura in his previous life? So it is coming from his past impressions. He was Chitraketu, and he was a pure devotee of the Lord. And even when he was cursed, he did not take it as a curse. I mean, he did not retaliate, but he accepted it as the Lord's mercy. And in this particular life, even when he's getting killed in the battlefield, he's still taking it as the Lord's mercy. And he just elevates his consciousness completely. And at the unconscious level, for most materialists, at the most deepest level, they're not even conscious that there is God, actually. But for a devotee, it just becomes exactly inverted. They're always conscious of Krishna. They're always conscious of, at a subconscious level also, they're a little bit conscious of whatever is happening to them is because of their past reactions. And then the external world doesn't matter to them at all. So it is so interesting how the whole system gets inverted for devotees and non-devotees. And for non-devotees, the external appearance, external things matter so much. But for devotees, it doesn't matter at all. What matters for devotees is what is at the deepest level of their consciousness. And here we see such a nice question that Parikshit Maharaj is asking, that externally he was such a demon, but how did he become such a Krishna conscious person? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes. Thank you, Prabhu. So, as Prabhuji exactly mentioned, that Vritrasura is asking about the external and internal, right? It's completely opposing, and he's curious that what is the real state of Vritrasura's advancement, and what is the reason for Vritrasura's advancement. So, yeah, we will see that in next verses, that what's happening. So thank you, Prabhu. We'll move to next verse. Nitya Mataji or Jagannath Prabhu.
Okay, I can go. अत्र नः संशयो भूयान् श्रोतुं कौतूहलं प्रभो यः पौरुषेण समरे सहस्राक्षम् अतोषयत्. Translation: My dear Lord, Shukdev Goswami, although Vritrasura was a sinful demon, he showed the prowess of a most exalted Kshatriya and satisfied Lord Indra in battle. How could such a demon be a great devotee of Lord Krishna? These contradictions have caused me great doubt, and they have made me eager to hear of this from you. So, just echoing what Gaur Kumar Prabhu mentioned, we find bhakti in the unlikeliest of places. So there is this story of that person who. So one day he was. One day I think he was eating something, and then he threw it in the dustbin, and then he realized that he didn't want to throw it in the dustbin, and then he went searching for it. Then in that he found the Bhagavad Gita, the trash bin, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then he read that Bhagavad Gita, and then just by reading that Bhagavad Gita, his life transformed completely. And then his life transformed, and then he happened to visit New Vrindavan, where he met Radhanath Maharaj and narrated the whole story. So he was ready to donate his entire life savings to the movement and then join full time. So bhakti can be found in the unlikeliest of places. Another example, there was this rishi called I forget his name now. So he did austerities for many years, actually. Many years he did austerities. And then one day what happened is a crow and a crane were fighting. So he was sitting under a tree performing austerities, and a crow and a crane were fighting. And then that crow, so because of that, some leaf or a fruit, because of that skirmish between the crow and the crane, some leaf or a fruit fell on him, and that disturbed his meditation, and he opened his eyes, and then he saw the crow and the crane. And because his yogic meditation was so strong, so intense, that when he opened his eyes, immediately the crow and the crane were burnt alive. I am sure some of you would know this story. So immediately the crow and crane were burnt alive. And then now he thought, okay, my meditation is anyway broken. I seem to be hungry, so let me go and beg for madhukari. So he goes and begs for madhukari, and then while begging, he comes to a home of a grihastha. And then he calls on the door, and then Mataji comes out. Then he asks for bhiksha from her, and then that Mataji says, just wait, I want to go in and take care of my husband. So after I'm done with that, I'll come and give you madhukari. Then this sage, this rishi became very angry. He said, you wretched woman, how can you even neglect me like this? You're an ordinary householder and I'm a yogi. You can't neglect me like that. You're a fallen soul and this and that. And then that lady, to his shock and surprise, says that, do you think I am a crow or a crane? Don't think that you will be able to destroy me like you destroyed the crow and crane. And then he was completely shocked. And then he was like, Maya, how come you know all this? So she said that by performing my prescribed duty of taking care of my husband nicely, I have achieved these yogic powers. So, and then he asks her about dharma. Then she says, if you want to know about dharma, go to this nearby village. There is a butcher called Vyadha, and you can go and inquire from him. That butcher will tell you about dharma. And that episode in Mahabharata is recorded. It's known as the Vyadha Gita, the instructions that the butcher gives to this rishi. So, and actually Vyadha, this Vyadha is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. I don't remember which verse, but he's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna as a dharmic person. So it's really interesting. So bhakti can be found in the most unlikeliest of places. So we can't bhakti sanjayate bhakti. So we can't put any mundane definitions around bhakti, that bhakti has to be found in only this kind of a setting, only in that kind of a setting. No, bhakti is completely independent, the way the Lord is independent. So bhakti can manifest herself anywhere that she desires. So yeah, just something I wanted to share.
Thank you, Prabhu. Really amazing, really powerful, and really beautiful. That and continuing the comment of Gaur Kumar Prabhu, that how bhakti is independent of anything. Doesn't matter what your externals are. Doesn't matter what your situation is. It's just the bhavagrahi Janardhan. It's all about. It just starts with the intention to serve Lord, to see Lord, and to render service. And any thought related to bhakti can get us started, and then all the good qualities manifest eventually. Like the from Vyad, I remember Mrugari, that how, I mean, he was a hunter who loved killing animals, half killing them, and then enjoying them, seeing suffering. And then after the mercy of Narad Muni, that Mrugari became so sensitive, such an elevated Vaishnava. With the instructions of Narad Muni, he stopped killing animals, and he just started chanting. That was his beginning, but eventually he acquired all the Vaishnava qualities. That is the effect of bhakti. You can start from any level, but it takes you to the purest of consciousness. And that Mrugari was even protecting himself from stepping over to or stepping over on ants when Narad Muni and Parvat Muni came to see him. So and that example of Vyad is so beautiful. And then the example of the person finding Bhagavad Gita in the dustbin and somehow reading it. And so this as you said, it's really, bhakti is really independent, and it is, the examples are all around us. Like we are this by mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Senapati Bhakta Srila Prabhupada and so many other Ananta Koti Vaishnavas, bhakti is spreading throughout the world. We can see like in China, Japan, and so many other countries of which even we haven't heard name. Like there is temple in Middle East also, in so many African countries also. So everywhere it's spreading, it's attracting the jivas independent of their as that verse goes in the second canto, Kiratu Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumbha Yavana Kasadaya Yadapashraya Ashraya Shuddhanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. By serving the the devotee who is serving Lord, even these categories of people can be purified and can be elevated to the highest consciousness possible. So so it all consolidates very beautifully. So thank you for sharing everything. Yeah, and we can move to next verse. Yeah. Okay, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Sri Sutta Uvacha Parikshitota samprashnam Bhagavan Badarayana Nishamya Saddhanasya Pratinandya Vacho Bravit. Translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, after hearing Maharaj Parikshit's very intelligent question, Sukadeva Goswami, the most powerful sage, began answering his disciple with great affection. Should I read the next verse?
Yes, Mataji, please. Yeah.
Sri Sukha Uvacha Shunusva Vahito Rajan Itihasam Imam Yata Shrutam Dvaipayana Mukhan Narada Devaladapi. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, I shall speak to you the same history I've heard from the mouths of Vyasadeva, Narada, and Devala. Please listen with attention.
Next one also, Mataji, please.
Yeah. Asidraja Sarvabhauma Suraseneshu Vainrupa Chitraketuriti Kyato Yasyate Kamadhun Mahim. Translation. O King Parikshit, in the province of Surasena, there was a king named Chitraketu who ruled the entire earth. During his reign, the earth produced all the necessities for life. Purport. Here, the most significant statement is that the earth completely produced all the necessities of life during the time of King Chitraketu, as stated in the Ishopanishad, Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tektena bunjita mahagradach kasya svit dhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within this universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Krishna, the Supreme Controller, has created the material world, which is completely perfect and free from scarcity. The Lord supplies the necessities of all living entities. These necessities come from the earth, and thus the earth is the source of supply. When there is a good ruler, that source produces the necessities of life abundantly. However, when there is not such a good ruler, there will be scarcity. This is the significance of the word Kamadu. Elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:10.4, it is said, Kamam Vavarsa Parjanya Sarva Kama Duga Mahi. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of men in profusion. We have experienced that in some seasons in rains. The rains produce abundance, and in other seasons there is scarcity. We have no control over the earth's productiveness, for it is naturally under the full control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By his order, the Lord can make the earth produce sufficiently or insufficiently. If a pious king rules the earth according to the Shastric injunctions, there will naturally be regular rainfall and sufficient produce to provide for all men. There will be no question of exploitation, for everyone will have enough. Black marketeering and other corrupt dealings will then automatically stop. Simply ruling the land cannot solve problems unless the leader has spiritual capabilities. He must be like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Parikshit Maharaj, or Ramachandra. Then all the inhabitants of the land will be extremely happy. Yes, this is a famous verse from Ishopanishad. And this is in context to this verse mentioning about how King Surasena has in the province of Surasena, there is a king named Chitraketu, and how under his reign or during his reign, the earth produced all the necessities for life. So so Prabhupada mentions here that the reason why earth is producing all the necessities for life is because of the spiritual capabilities of Chitraketu, of King Chitraketu, and how it has been compared. He has been compared to kings like Raja Rishis, like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Parikshit Maharaj, King Lord Ramachandra, and yes. So, but here in this world, unfortunately, we lack such good rulers, and that is why we see so much insufficiencies in terms of the earthly supplies, in terms of the crops or even the rain. Sometimes there is a lot of rain in the areas where it should not be raining, or sometimes there is a drought in the places where the crops must be growing, and so there we see that there is a lot of imbalance in the earth. That is, according to this verse, it's Prabhupada says it's because of the lacking of the spiritual potency of the king, of the ruler. In this case, pretty much there is not like one king who rules the earth as used to be before, but it's collectively all the countries. And just recently in our daily Bhagavad Gita discussions, we were just discussing about similar verse that in I think it's 10:27. It was similar context was mentioned, and Prabhupada writes about how and where Krishna mentions that he is among the kings, he is like a Jagannath Gopalpur. Do you remember that verse that we discussed recently?
Yeah, it's
Among men, I am monarch.
yeah.
Monarch, right? But he didn't say any particular name, correct?
No.
Yeah. So a monarch, I think, is translated to Raja Rishi. I think that's what the original Sanskrit verse is Raja Rishi, and the translation is monarch. And in that also Prabhupada mentions about these three kings, Maharaj Parikshit and Maharaj Yudhishthir and Lord Ramachandra. And in that context, we were just discussing about something that is happening in India, which is a good thing about how the current Prime Minister is doing a lot of things to establish Sanatan Dharma in India, and how things have been like the holy places have been cleaned up. Varanasi, Ganga has been purified. Varanasi has been all the guards and the roads and has been cleared up and so nicely made available for all the pilgrims to come, and we the Prime Minister also of India, who when he visits other places, other countries, how he freely distributes Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is to other other leaders, and how he's very instrumental in re-establishing the Sanatan Dharma. Anyway, the politics aside, so such Raja Rishis are needed for for bringing in the prosperity of the land, and with the prosperity comes everything. Everything else, like there will not be any scarcity. Without scarcity, there will not be any robbery, theft, any illegal dealings like black marketing, like Prabhupada is mentioning in this verse, and corrupt dealings. So because everybody, so Isavashyam says that everybody will have enough, and there is no there is quota for everybody, and more than that quota, one should not accept anything. So in that context, by that definition, everybody will be happy with their portion, and they don't have to steal or be envious or greedy about other supplies, because everybody will have equal distribution. So yes, that is something that I wanted to share. Please, somebody else, if you want to share some light on this verse, please do. Thank you.
Yes, please. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to ask our other participants during last two verses. So yeah, please. Sure. Krishnan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. That was very nice. Connection to the current situation in India. And when we read this verse, I was reminded of Prithu Maharaj 4:18:7. I'll just read it, because it is exactly the flip side of this particular verse, I feel. And there the translation goes, "My dear king, not only are grains and herbs used by non-devotees, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not being properly maintained. Indeed, I'm being neglected by kings who are not punishing these rascals who have turned into thieves by using grains for sense gratification. Consequently, I've hidden all these seeds which were meant for the performance of sacrifice." So in this, I think Prithu Maharaj, and after that King Vena, I think what happens is I think the king is not good, and so the earth decides to hold back everything and not produce anything. So and here Srila Prabhupada is saying that if the king is really good, then there is a lot of there is no scarcity, and there's everybody gets everything there. And so yeah, I just thought I'll share that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Kameshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Nanad Pranam. Actually, that purport Mataji discussed, and very, very nice actually. She used the word spiritual potency. I like that word very much. Spiritual potency of the king. And the fate of the citizens depend upon the spiritual potency of the king. That is very good word actually. Yeah, that is true actually. So actually scarcity is concerned. Actually, the Prabhupada, as mentioned, there is no scarcity. That is artificially human beings are creating out of greed. In this connection, I remember one example. when a bag of grains was put it in the openly on the road, then birds will come and take whatever they want and fly away. Like they don't take anything to store. But it is a human beings. They'll go and whatever they want. They will eat, and not only that, they will take it away and store it. So that storage is making all scarcity. The wealthy people, whatever money is having in India, the wealthy people, like top 10 people's money, if you take, that will be enough for the maintenance of whole country. Everybody, including all living entities, all animals, everything will be nourished, will be enough. Whatever it is stored. So out of greed, human beings are like, they are storing more and more because they don't have this God consciousness. Isha Vasham, Ishopishat first sloka I mentioned. Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. So there is no other concept. So as long as that concept is not there, the scarcity will be there. Always like, things will go worse. This is still the first phase of Kali Yuga. As Srimad Bhagavatam explains, you see all the anarchies at the end of the fourth quadrant of the Yuga. It's possible, like even now also, first phase also we are seeing this golden period, still we are feeling that we are sensing what is going to happen. Day by day, things are degrading. And it's really, now actually our mission is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, and Prabhupada also set up a long, very good platform. So many people, year over year, people are increasing, temples are increasing, and congregations are becoming strengthened and all. It's a very good sign. So we need to work, like everybody should, whatever come to this platform, we have to spread it as much as possible. So Gautama, many times he tells that everybody has the responsibility of giving Krishna to others. So personally also he mentioned many times to me, like, you need to do this. This is our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned that the Indian who take birth in India, additional responsibility we have. So we need to spread this movement, at least for next generations will be saved from this anarchical developments and all. That's the only problem. Yeah, I just wanted to add this. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Kameshwar Prabhu. Yeah, so many perspectives covered in this discussion. Kameshwar Prabhu, that you just mentioned, like how it once first we have to understand, and then we have to help it distribute also. This is also one of the reasons of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, that this verse that just you mentioned, like Bharat Bhumi te janma haila jar janma sarthak kari kar par upkar. If you have taken birth in India, then you have to learn this science of Krishna consciousness, accept it, and live with it, and then propagate it. So thank you for mentioning that, and how Nitya Mataji connected this verse to the present current with the present context, or with the current times, that how like the Narendra Modi, who may not be pure devotee, but being a very pious soul, how much difference he is able to make. He is able to make the situations of Dham, the holy rivers, better than it was before. And otherwise also anyone can say that, okay, the things are little better now. So so we can imagine, what if the leader of the country, and that also, it's a democracy, like he doesn't have all the things in his hand, but if the king, who is the, like, as here mentioned, is like Chitraketu was the king who was like single-handed ruler of the vast kingdom, and he is a pure devotee. And then how much difference he can make into the life of in the life of his citizens, and their spiritual consciousness, that is worth considering. And I think this verse is also somewhere asserting the great character of Chitraketu Maharaj, because we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam the instances where Dharti Mata, because Earth, or Dharti Mata, is a person. She is a person. She is a devotee, and she accepts she expects the citizens who are living on earth to be pious, religious, and if they are leading a spiritual life or a life in mode of goodness, then she gives them more resources and a better life. But if not, then she hides her resources, she holds her resources, as Krishnan Prabhu mentioned. So since Dharti Mata was happy with Chitraketu Maharaj ruling and his pious behavior, his ideal lifestyle as a Rajarishi and lifestyle of his citizens, she was profusely giving uh, all the resources. Earth produced all the necessities of life. So this words in itself, like it is establishing the how Chitraketu Maharaj was a great person, very pious, and leading a life as per Vedas. And as a result of that, Mother Earth was providing him everything needed to run a good kingdom. And we discussed a lot about the greed of the people. That I also read an article which was saying that if all the people all over the earth start consuming like the US people do, then we need 6 earths, because resources of one earth are not enough to be consumed by all the population of earth like America. So certainly there is tendency to consume more if we are not in right consciousness. There is this verse, in case anyone know what's this verse, I just had screenshot of this verse. Lokansha lokanu gatan pashunscha hitva shritaste charnat patram parasparam tad gunavadha sidu piyusha nirya pitadeha dharma. Prabhu, do you remember or have any idea like where this verse comes? I was trying to find it today, but couldn't. Anyone?
Tell me the last line.
Piyusha nirya pita deha dharma. Lokansha lokanu gatan pashunscha. It's very famous verse, but
Piyusha Nirya Pitadeva Dharma.
Piyusha nirya pita deha dharma.
Pitadeha
Dharma.
Dharma. Piyusha Nirya Pitadeha.
Dharma.
Yes. Okay. Now I'll have to find out a little more.
Okay. Yeah, Lokansha Lokanu Gatan Pashunsha. This is very interesting verse which I wanted to share, but maybe if someone is able to find, we can discuss later. But basically, this is saying like the Lokansha Lokanu Gatan Pashunsha. So Srila Prabhupada translates this as like the Lokansha. Lokansha is worldly affairs, people who are into worldly affairs, and Lokanu Gatan Pashunsha, and the beastly follower of these affairs. Lokansha is worldly affairs, materialistic activities, and Lokanu Gatan is like Anugat, who follows this beastly, and Prabhupada uses word there, beastly follower of materialistic activities. So these people, these beastly followers, so however, persons who have given up stereotype worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the necessary necessities of the material body. That's how this verse translates. So this the beastly follower, the person gets so much consumed by the material world that the nature of beast is very powerful, and it's just focused on one thing, just satisfying certain demand of his mind or body, and he pushes all his strength into that activity, like a lion or like some demon who will
Prabhu, I
either
found the verse. Sorry, I found the verse. It's Srimad Bhagavatam 3:21-17.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu.
The translation also is very nice. 3:21-17.
Okay, yeah. Yes, yeah, this one. Yeah. लोकांश लोकानुगतान् पशूंश्च हित्वा श्रितास्ते चरणातपत्रम् परस्परं त्वद्गुणवादसीधु पीयूषनिर्यापितदेहधर्मः लोकांश्च लोकानुगतान् पशूंश्च, like a lokanugatan, the follower of worldly affairs. So, however, persons who have given up the stereotype worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the primary necessities of material body. This is the primary necessity, not to be the beastly follower of material world. And then and after that one can take shelter of the Lord. Even even Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sangi Sangam. Like if one, it's not very good to be a sense enjoyer, but if you are a follower of a sense enjoyer, if you admire a sense enjoyer, that is even worse. That can have a double effect on our consciousness. So similarly, this worldly affairs, beastly, if we are so animalistically attached to our material life that we are not able to look past it, like the time is running out, we may die someday and we don't know about that day, and still we are completely focused on maintaining our current present so-called life. So that's why Prabhupada mentioned it as beastly followers. So can we read purport, Prabhu? Would anyone like to read purport for this verse?
After describing the necessity of married life, Kardama Muni asserts that marriage and other social affairs are stereotyped regulations for persons who are addicted to material sense enjoyment. The principles of animal life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, are actually necessities of the body, but those who engage in transcendental Krishna consciousness, giving up all the stereotyped activities of this material world, are freed from social conventions. Conditioned souls are under the spell of material energy or eternal time, past, present, and future. But as soon as one engages in Krishna consciousness, he transcends the limits of past and present and becomes situated in the eternal activities of the soul. One has to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions in order to enjoy material life. But those who have taken to the devotional service of the Lord are not afraid of the regulations of this material world. Such devotees do not care for the conventions of material activities. They boldly take to that shelter, which is like an umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death. Constant transmigration of the soul from one body to another is the cause of suffering in material existence. This conditioned life in material existence is called samsara. One must perform good work and take his birth in a very nice material condition, but the process under which birth and death take place is like a terrible fire. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his prayer to the spiritual master, has described this. This is the Samsara Dava prayer. Samsara, or the repetition of birth and death, is compared to a forest fire. A forest fire takes place automatically without anyone's endeavor, by the friction of dried wood, and no fire department or sympathetic person can extinguish it. The raging forest fire can be extinguished only when there is constant downpour of water from a cloud. The cloud is compared to the mercy of the spiritual master. By the grace of the spiritual master, the cloud of the mercy of the personality of Godhead is brought in. And then only, when the rains of Krishna consciousness falls, can the fire of material existence be extinguished. This is also explained here. In order to find freedom from the stereotyped conditioned life of material existence, one has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, not in the manner in which impersonalists indulge, but in devotional service, chanting and hearing of the activities of the Lord. Only then can one be freed from the actions and reactions of material existence. It is recommended here that one should give up the conditional life of this material world and the association of so-called civilized human beings who are simply following in a polished way the same stereotype principles of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord is described here as Tvad Guna Vada Siddhu. Only by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord can one forget the intoxication of material existence. Hari Bol.
Very good. Yeah.
Haribol.
Yeah, Prabhu, you want to say something on this verse or anyone?
Yeah, Krishnan Prabhu, you want to say something, Prabhuji?
Very, very, very powerful verse, Prabhu. And in one class, I remember hearing that there we talk about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and if you only follow artha kama, then you're an animal, and that's why you need the other two also. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You need to follow all four. So, but this is an extremely powerful verse because I think the metaphor here of the forest fire, which is the way I'm interpreting it, is that challenges will keep coming in material life, and that is like a forest fire, and we can try our best to extinguish it, but it may not be extinguishable. But it can only be permanently extinguished by a constant downpour, which is like the spiritual master sharing the mercy of the person of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and only with that can this fire of material existence be extinguished. So yes, and what he's saying is that this should be done only through. It can only be done by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord, and only by doing that will we forget this intoxication of material existence. The intoxication of Maya that is all around us, which makes us feel like it's got us entangled in it, and the only way to get ourselves freed from that is by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord.
Thank you, Krishnan Prabhu. I just was counting how many times Srila Prabhupada here says only. This is the only way. This is the only way. There are 9 times where Srila Prabhupada says that only by chanting and hearing the activities of the Lord, only by chanting and hearing the activities of the Lord. That's the only way by which we can come out of this conditioned life of material existence. This also reminded me of the verse Ayur Harati Vaipumsam. I think that is 2:3:17, Prabhuji. 2:3:17, if you can pull it up. A very similar concept where the importance of discussing the Lord's pastimes is again mentioned there. Yeah, here, this one. Ayur Harati Vaipumsan Udyan Astan Chayan Aso Tasyarte Yat Kshano Nita Uttama Shloka Vartaya. So here, both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. So, which is what we are doing now, actually. We are discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. By doing this is the only way by which we don't get entangled in the stereotype conditions of material life. It's heavy, but it is also very, very true. This is the only way. Tushyanchicha, Ramanticha, it is also mentioned that we constantly, by churning, by discussing, along with other Vaishnavas, is when we really can come out of this materialistic condition. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Yeah. Anyone else want to say anything on this? All the verses we shared. Again, I mean, it's interestingly, as Prabhu mentioned, only, and it again and again comes back to hearing and chanting. Hridayanto stupi abhadrani vidunoti surutsatam nityam bhagavata sevaya. So until unless like the abhadram is there in the heart, we will remain beasts and a beast will only squander his time until he dies, because it's an animalistic tendency. So the only way to get out of that beastly nature and not get every moment killed by this effect of this material world, right? Ayur harati vai pumsam, like every moment is just passing, and we are moving closer to death, is engaging very consciously, very nicely understanding what we are doing, and then engaging in Shravan Kirtana can save us from all these very difficult situation in which most of the world is, unfortunately, that without even realizing till the last breath of life they are trying to, or even someone like myself also, like even after knowing these many things, that one tries very hard like a beast to do certain things in this material world. But yeah, Shravan and Kirtan can really purify our consciousness. It really works. Again, it comes back to the our initial discussion, that how it is independent of any external situation. It is so powerful. Sun can purify, like sun can equally purify a like clear pond or a stool. Like it's like in the Krishna hai Surya sam, Maya hai andhakar, jaha Krishna taha nahi mayar adhikar. So if there is Krishna, then there is no question of the darkness and illusion. So yeah, we will come back to this verse. So again, yeah, this verse just it establishes that piety, the pious and great Rajarishi nature of Chitraketu Maharaj, and he was already great person, but he was not pure devotee. And now how he is by mercy of Krishna, with a very sweet pastime, how he is brought into pure devotional service is discussed in coming verses. So yeah, 6.14.11. Yeah.
Since Kamesha Prabhu is back, I think he can read this verse.
And
Yes,
can I read in your place, Kameshwar Prabhu?
Sure, Prabhu. Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Continue reading.
Thank you, Prabhu. So I'll skip the Sanskrit because it's very, unless you want to read Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu, I like listening to your Sanskrit.
yes,
Tasya.
Prabhu. Yeah. Tasya bhayar sahasranam sahasrani dhasha bhavan santa nikaschapi nrupo nalebhetasu santatim.
This translation, this Chitraketu had 10 million wives, but although he was capable of producing children, he did not receive a child from any of them. By chance, all the wives were barren. Maybe the next verse. You want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, please. रूपौर्द्राय वयोजन्म विद्यैश्वर्य श्रियादिभिः सम्पन्नस्य गुणैः सर्वैश्चिन्ताबध्याप तेरभूत.
Chitraketu, the husband of these millions of wives, was endowed with a beautiful form, magnanimity, and youth. He was born in a high family. He had a complete education, and he was wealthy and opulent. Nevertheless, in spite of being endowed with all these assets, he was full of anxiety because he did not have a son. Purport. It appears that the king first married one wife, but she could not bear a child. Then he married a second, a third, a fourth, and so on. But none of the wives could bear children. In spite of the material assets of birth in an aristocratic family with full opulence, wealth, education, and beauty, he was very much aggrieved because, in spite of having so many wives, he had no son. Certainly, his grief was natural. Grihastha life does not mean having a wife and no children. Chanakya Pandit says, Putrahinam griham shunyam. If a family has no son, his home is no better than a desert. The king was certainly most unhappy that he could not get a son. And this is why he had married so many times. Kshatriyas especially are allowed to marry more than one wife, and this king did so. Nonetheless, he had no issue. and here by the word issue, he means child, I think. Nonetheless, he had no issue. And so, yeah, so, even I think the purport is saying that even somebody who has everything, he has everything. He had a beautiful form. He had wealth. He was born in an aristocratic family. He was full of opulence, wealth, education, beauty. Even then, he had to have something missing in his life. And he had no son, and he had so many wives, but none of them could bear children, bear him children. And so this reminds me of two things, and I'll quickly mention them. One is in the year 2006 or 2007, I heard a Hindi katha, Hindi Srimad Bhagavatam katha in the local temple here. It was done by an ex-ISKCON Swamiji. He was part of some other Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, and he had called it Chitraketu ki Katha. So it's still in my mind because I remember enjoying it so much when he explained that. So I wanted to share that. The second thing that I wanted to share is a little bit controversial, which is I'm taking it back to this Chanakya Pandit's statement about family having no son. So I have two daughters, and once I was in India, and my father-in-law's family and my wife's grandparents, they're very devout, they're very spiritual, and so there are always priests coming to their homes and doing yajnas and homas. So one priest, I was friendly with him and I was chatting with him, and he offered that, oh, you don't have a son, I can teach you these mantras by which you will get a son. I didn't reply to him at all. I was very happy with two daughters. I didn't reply to him at all, but it just came back to me just now that there is also this constant belief in India that you need to have a son, and I think son here probably means an offspring, somebody who can continue your tradition. I just thought I'll share that too.
Yes, Ro, thank you for sharing that about the Chanakya Pandita's point. You shared very important aspect that there is, as a society, there is something like that. They should have son, but as you mentioned here, it can be a child. Basically, the word can be alternatively be a child, or it is specifically mentioned as son. So since there are certain statements in Shastra that putrayate iti putraha, a dharmic, a devotee child can save his parents and all his previous generations from falling down into hell. So it is said somewhere in that context, I think, and taking it as it is won't be very helpful. So thank you for raising it and saying it, Prabhu, because it's very important to have we should be able to understand these things, that it's about the child. And there are many examples in Bhagavatam also, that in Bhagavatam, in Mahabharata, that there were kings with one with a daughter only, like Kashi Naresh, and there are other examples also, not on my top of my head. And
Janak had only daughters. Sita and
Janak
Urmila.
only had daughters, right? And they are considered perfect, right? Their king Grihasthashram is perfect, their spiritual life is perfect. So it's more about child, I think. Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yes, so there are many ways to take this. Yes, I think safe to understand that, assume that this son means, child. I think what, usually the son is supposed to be, of course, they further the family because they can create generations with the son. And more so, I think the son is also important for doing to offer
Pinda.
pinda, yeah, when the parents pass away, and that is very important for the next life of the parents, and so it is only a son can do it. Daughters are not allowed to do the pinda offering for the deceased parent, and so and that too the first son. So many rules and regulations are there. So in that context, this saying from Chanakya Pandit holds to be right. But we as devotees, when we have Krishna's, when we are in the process of bhakti yoga, in the Krishna consciousness process, it's kind of it kind of surpasses all these so-called ritualistic mentalities of only if we offer pinda, no matter how bad that person is, the parent was. If you offer a pinda, then he or she will be elevated to Pitraloka and have a better life. All that the concept does not even it kind of surpass. I wouldn't say that those beliefs don't exist or those don't come into fruition, but the fact that it doesn't matter anymore when we are devotees of Krishna, because by developing bhakti, we just saw in the first verse so many examples of how even a seemingly undeserving person can get devotional capabilities, like the hunter Megari, and several examples quoted by Jagannath Gopal Prabhu. And also we see even Valmiki also it was like that. He was although he was born to a Brahmin parents, he lost his parents, and then he was wandering in the forest, and then he got adopted by a hunter, and then he became a hunter, and he was actually going to hunt Narada Muni or like steal his stuff or something like that. And Narada Muni kind of saw how because he has the capability to see, and then he made him a Brahma Rishi, I think. And then he said the entire Ramayana to him, I think. So we don't know where this this Sukriti will come for any person to get onto the spiritual plane of Krishna consciousness. Once we are on that plane of existence with bhakti yoga, none of these the ritualistic performances or karma kandic performances does not have no relevance. I think that is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, it's more towards karma kanda. Thank you for highlighting that, Mataji. Yeah, that this concern is more with respect to karma kanda, and that is also not very much relevant in current times, I think. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share anything on this verse? Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to mention about this, like, yeah, this verse is very classic example of the nature of material world. It is explained first. The verse very clearly says that there is everything, lot of beautiful wife, millions of beautiful wife, beautiful form, high family, high education, wealthy, opulent, good looking, and in next verse it says that he was completely capable of having kids also, but somehow or other none of his wife could bear a child. So material world will always outsmart our efforts to be happy in this world and find and that's why those who are not Ayum Harati Vai Pumsam, as we discussed yesterday, their life is get consumed by anxiety, by burning desires all the time if we are not into Krishna consciousness. It may sound little biased, but that's how it is, and that is a fact that the whole life can just pass, because this is the nature of material world. Krishna have defined it as dukkhalayam shashvatam anityam asukham. So the most pious king like Chitraketu Maharaj is also suffering in this way because of this effect of three modes of material nature and Maya. So yeah, 13th verse. I think Nitya Mataji or Jagannath Prabhu, Gaur Kumar Prabhu.
Sure, I can read, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu, please.
न तस्य सम्पदः सर्वा महिष्यो वामलोचनः सार्वभौमस्य भूश्चेयम् अभवन् प्रीतिहेतवः. His queens all had beautiful faces and attractive eyes, yet neither his opulences, his hundreds and thousands of queens, nor the lands of which he was the supreme proprietor were sources of happiness for him. Read the next one too.
Yes, Prabhu.
तस्यैकदा तु भवनम् अंगीरा भगवान् ऋषिः लोकान् अनुचरन् एतान् उपागच्छद् यदृच्छया. Once upon a time, when the powerful sage named Angira was traveling all over the universe without engagement, by his sweet will, he came to the palace of King Chitraketu. So, yeah, I wonder why Prabhupada wrote the word without engagement. Maybe there was no specific reason for him to come, but he came anyway out of his sweet will.
Specific material reason, maybe that's what.
Yeah. But then this is really interesting because wherever pure sages, pure devotees go, they spiritualize the place, right? Spiritualize the place, they spiritualize the person. Like we know the story of Narad Muni. He came in touch with Mrigari the hunter. He came in touch with Valmiki. He came in touch with our who else? One name was coming to my mind. These two, our Nalakuver and Manikriva, right? They were sporting in the heavenly lakes, and then Narad Muni happened to be there. And so now also we see Angira Muni happened to be here, and we kind of know what happened after this. So it's very interesting that wherever these pure devotees they go, even if you take Narad Muni's own example, these Mahabhagavats, when they stayed at that place where he and his mother served them during the Chaturmasya, right? That completely transformed everything for Narad Muni. Like he became a pure devotee, he became Narad Muni. So it is very nice, it is very interesting that wherever these pure devotees walk, that place, that the people in that place, they become completely transformed. Like Prabhupada also came to the US, in the hippie land, and he transformed all these hippies in a very enormous way. So yeah, it just goes to show the power of bhakti and the power of those who carry pure bhakti within their hearts. They just go on, shedding that light everywhere they go, and that way transforming everybody's lives. So yeah, I mean, there are n number of examples. I just said some. There are so many examples where sages happen to be there, and then the future of the person involved completely transformed, completely changed. They came closer to Krishna, although in a painful way to begin with, but they did come close to Krishna. So yeah.
Great, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you. You just talked about very important thing, how entrance of Acharya and how it transforms things onwards, quoting so many examples, including Prabhupada. Thank you. And Prabhu,
I'll quickly chime in. So the word yadrichya, it comes many times, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say, Prabhuji.
Oh, is that okay? Yes.
Yeah, so
suddenly,
this
okay.
word yadrichya, our acharyas explain, that in the Bhagavatam, whenever it comes, it is actually by the mercy of the Lord that a sage comes in. So pull this other verse, Prabhuji. This is 849, Srimad Bhagavatam 849. This is the time where Indradumna Maharaj was meditating, gets cursed. Cursed. So look at the first word here.
Yeah, Yadruchaya.
So the same word is being used in the verse that you
Out
just
of his own will, without being invited.
yeah, without being invited. So exactly what Jagannath Gopal was also saying. Out of his own will, without being invited, suddenly from nowhere, a sage comes just to teach us a lesson, just to test us, just to teach us a lesson out of no cause. He just comes there at the right time. So in this time, in this case also, a powerful sage, Angira, comes. In the other one, Gajendra pastime, it is Agastya Muni.
Agastya Muni.
Yeah, so Yadrichya is used in the Bhagavatam a few times. Thank you, Krishnan Prabhu, for spotting this, because this is not easy to spot. So,
Thank you so much. It's actually, the word is the same in Tamil as well. And so every time I hear it, I find it very interesting that it's there. It's the Sanskrit word has come into Tamil.
yes.
Can you click on that
Actually-
word, Prabhuji? Yadrichaya. Yeah, you will see all the
Oh, wow. Yes.
places where
Wow.
it comes.
Oh, I didn't know this feature was there. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's there, Prabhu. It's very nice feature actually.
Yadruchaya apnoti, and this is Yadruchaya by his own accord, as one desire independently. It's all similar. Amazing. So many
In
by chance.
Ajamela case also, the one sage comes and suggests the name of Narayana to his son.
That is also Yadrichaya. Yeah. Somehow or
Uh,
other. Yeah.
So can you click that 6? Okay, actually, it's okay.
Yeah, 6.2.19.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, I think
I
this
remember
is
where it comes in.
duties of mankind. For Ajamila, you mean, bro?
Yeah,
Yeah, even I was. Is it like the 7th canto, right? Ajamil is.
no, 7th canto is Prahlad.
No,
Ajam-
so that story where the sages come and suggest.
But it's not in the Bhagavatam.
That's not in Bhagavatam. I don't think that's in Bhagavatam.
That's not in the Bhagavatam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not in the Bhagavatam.
Is it from some other Purana?
So, Kamesha Prabhu, where did you get that from?
I heard in a lecture, Prabhu, the reference.
No, I think Vamsidhar Gopal Prabhu, you had narrated that story when we discussed the Ajamil pastime.
Yeah.
I referred it from Radha Govind Swami Maharaj's lecture, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I tried to find the Shastrik, which Purana or which Itihasa it comes, but I could not find. But yeah, it's got to be there somewhere, definitely. Yeah.
I think Prabhupada also mentions this in the purport, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a purport where he's mentioned that some sages came and named him like that. We can find maybe a source there. Yeah.
I'll just add one unrelated thing. This Angirasa Rishi, right? So when we do Namaskar, I think it must be there in all traditions, but we say Abhivadaye. So when I say my Abhivadaye, I say Abhivadaye Angirasa Bharaspacha Bharatvaja Traya Rishi Prava. So Angirasa comes in that comes in the order of the rishis, from these are supposedly quote unquote my ancestors. So I think Angiras Rishi also is one of my ancestors. Probably is all of our ancestors. So,
I thought they were different for different Saptarishis. They have different, no?
Oh yeah, maybe they're different. So maybe for me it is Angirasa.
Yeah. Because of your Gotram, it comes from your Gotram.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bharatoja Gotra is my Gotra. So, but we say we start with Angirasa.
So you're Bharadwaj. I'm also Bharadwaj.
Oh wow! Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm not Bharadwaj. My Gotra is Bharadwaj.
You're both brothers.
Yeah, definitely.
We're both brothers.
You're descendant of Bharadwaja.
Yes.
Amazing.
So
You know who else is Bharadwaj Gotra? Krishnan Prabhu, great devotee of the Lord.
Who great devotee of the Lord?
Draupadi Prabhu. Draupadi is comes in the line of Bharadwaj.
Dronacharya is his father is that also
Yeah.
Bharadwaj?
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
father, I think guru or something, but so Gaurakumar Prabhu had shared that lineage ka thing, Mahabharat lineages.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can share that again on Life of Devotion group.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know exactly who all are there in your lineage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Of course, sorry, the discussion
yeah,
is
but yeah, it was interesting.
it was nice. Thank you. I just wanted to go back to that question about having a son and issue and things like that. And I just wanted to open it up for discussion a little bit here. So
Yes,
in the
sir.
Bhagavatam itself, King Vena's father was King Anga.
Mm.
So he was very happy that he had a son initially, and he was thinking himself very elevated and very very proud that he had a son. But then later on, he came to know how bad that son was. So then what he thought was a blessing happened to be like his greatest curse actually. He said, I would have rather had no children than having a son like this. These are actual verses in the Bhagavatam. He actually mentions this. So the point that I wanted to make was that, yes, of course, from the Karma Kanda perspective, it is definitely good to have a son. But from a spiritual perspective, it's a whole different dimension. Even if you have a daughter, even if you have no children, you can still elevate and go towards Krishna. The daughter can help the father or mother or someone elevate their consciousness towards Krishna. It need not be a son at all. There is no reference of that in the spiritual context. In the case of Karma Kanda, yes, of course, they will say that, okay, only your son can do all your, the ritualistic activities and all that. But all that it leads to is a better birth for you. That's it. In this material realm itself. But a daughter can elevate the consciousness of the father and take him beyond this material world. The daughter or son or anybody, that's a whole different dimension. I hope that is clear. And Kamasha Prabhu, please correct me if you want to add anything here.
Yes, Prabhu. Goda Devi is example. Goda Devi is the daughter of Vishnu Chittu.
Yes.
She elevates his father's she elevates father's consciousness.
And she's Andal actually. She's one of the one of the. And you know this story, Krishnan Prabhu, better than all of us.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So it's not, and so it is totally okay to have daughters. It's totally okay to have even no children. I know so many couples like our one of our mentors, Dwarkadish Prabhu, Vishakha Mataji, they have no children, but they're progressing. And even the organizers of Sadhu Sangha, Rasika Shiromani Mataji and Govind Charan Prabhu, they have no children, but they're so elevating and doing so many things for Srila Prabhupada's movement, So please, I just wanted Krishnan Prabhu to understand this. And
yes,
and I also don't agree.
Vaisheshika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji also doesn't have children.
Oh yeah, Vaisheshika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji, exactly.
And then Maharaj was talking to us once, and he said that they tried, but I mean, I heard this from someone that they tried, but they couldn't get children. So this is Prabhu. Yeah, it's again coming to the same point that it's the spiritual life is independent of this thing. Yeah.
Chanakya Pandit's many quotes are, I mean, we need to take them with a pinch of salt.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're mostly on the plane of dharma, actually.
Dharma,
It's not in the place the platform of spiritual consciousness. So it has to be understood in that light. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, definitely that. I don't think Putra Hinam Griha Shunyam. Oh, come on, man. I mean, what are you saying? It's I won't say total nonsense, but it's not true.
Dharma changes from time to time, Prabhu. Dharma is not eternal. Dharma is Yoga Dharma. So it depends on this time, place, and circumstances. Dharma has slightly changes with the time actually. So in those days, that is, they are giving a lot of importance to the karma kanda and all. In that aspect, as you mentioned, dharma, based on dharma, it is okay. But now we are beyond dharma, like devotees, our KC philosophy is beyond it actually. We are not caring for any moksha laguta krut. We don't care for the moksha and dharma. No? We need above, our platform is above that. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, no, definitely. From the, as you said, moksha laguta krit, that even this pindadan and all, it's not for spiritual elevation, by the
Exactly.
way. It's all
Exactly.
material elevation.
Material
So,
elevation,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just saving from falling to hell. It's not about
Yeah.
going to Vaikuntha or nothing like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There is an implicit assumption that like my father passed away, right? So I have to do pindadan for him.
Hmm.
Of course, me or my brother, we have to do. But I'll start doing again now. I mean, when I came to the US, I had stopped because I didn't know where I could do that. So,
Very
but
good.
yeah, it is with an implicit assumption that your forefather is in hellish planets, and for them to quickly come out from there, it's done. It's not like they'll achieve pure devotional service, or they might be given a chance to engage in bhakti, but that will be because of your bhakti. That won't be because somebody does pindadan. So yeah, something.
Krishna Prabhu, you have any thoughts on this?
This was very useful because, I think what you mentioned about Karmakand, that that statement is probably valid from a Karmakand perspective, and Chanakya Pandit's statements are from the Dharma standpoint. I think those two are very useful. And as Kameshwara Prabhu said, these the times change, and the Dharma, not Dharma, but things change with time as well. And I think we are on a we are on a different path. And the other thing that was really helpful is the Pindadan is to give them, they are in the Pitrulok, they are in one of these other planets, and they need, and if they are there, they need food and water to survive there, or to progress from there. So as children, we should do the Pindadan, and because we don't know exactly where they are, we have no idea what their spiritual elevation level is. And but for us, I think as long as we are, we trust in this, in the name of the Lord, and singing and chanting the name of the Lord, then these things don't matter at all. That's what I'm getting out of the discussion, right?
Actually, this is an interesting thing I'll share with all of you. I hope I'm not taking much time. I can just skip it if required.
Please continue. We have it's already 10:03. Maybe
Yeah, after this discussion we can end. So this will, yeah, please continue, Prabhu.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So when my father had passed away, there was this pujari who did all the, who officiated in all the last rites, all the rituals and everything. 3rd day, 10th day, 12th day, 13th day, etc., etc. So in the end, when he came to take the Lakshmi for everything, we just got into a discussion, and then he was telling me how doing this pindadan, doing this, he was telling me the importance of shraddha and everything. Then he was telling me a little bit about Garuda Puran also, how the soul goes through birth and death, and how all these activities like rituals, this pindadan and everything help the deceased soul to get a better destination, and slowly evolve and things like that. So I happened to ask him, this is all good, I understand, this is for a better future destination and all that, but what if somebody wants to completely get out of this whole birth and death? What do you do? Then to my surprise, he actually said that is only possible by bhakti. He said that is only and only possible by bhakti, and other than that, you can't get out of the cycle of birth and death. and which was really interesting because even these karma kandis, and of course he did all the karma kandi rituals, but I think he knew all the shastras and everything, so that's why he could tell me that. And it's interesting that people know theoretically in India that unless we, I don't know if that's the case everywhere. You all can correct me here, but people know that this bhakti is the only way out, but somehow they are so engrossed in all their material pursuits that that ritualistic, the rituals for material gain take precedence over all these other sublimely spiritual activities. So this is something interesting. I thought, I was reminded of that. I'm going to quote this in a class this week. So I just thought I'll share it here also. Yeah, it was interesting. He said, if you want to get out, then, he mentioned bhakti, he mentioned sadhana, he mentioned two things. Yeah, he had mentioned these two things, I remember. I was like, it just validated what I learned in ISKCON. So
It is very interesting to know this, Prabhu. That's why even like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, it condemns it, right? The karma kanda. The analogy is given of, I mean, it's very strong, but there is analogy of prostitute, those who are too much into karma kanda, because by beating their own husband and going to other women. So, and then the Vedavadarata, the words in Bhagavad
yeah.
Gita. So yeah, even Krishna is not very pleased. So yeah, thank you for it. It is very important to to know more about these things, because
Just like this one benefit that we discussed of bhakti, there are so many other side effects of bhakti actually. If you just take up to this path of bhakti, there are so many things that we can bypass. We don't have to have, sun as it's recommended here. We don't have to do all these other rituals that are recommended on this world. But bhakti alone can give us the topmost benefit while negating all these other things that we can avoid. I'm not saying that we should avoid, but they're not required for a devotee. They're not required.
Yeah. See, that is where the question comes, right? Where do we draw the line? How much do we avoid? How much do we? There was this another line in the purport for 321.17 that Prabhupada writes, which I felt was quite strong and might not apply at our level. The line was this: such devotees do not care for the conventions of material activities. They boldly take to that shelter, which is like an umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death. I agree with the umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death, but that sentence where such devotees do not care for the conventions of material activities is quite strong, and I think that doesn't apply to me on my level of bhakti.
Yes.
I mean, of course, I do follow conventions of material activities. It's not that I, take mridanga and kartal and chant in my office, or I have to follow certain material conventions. So, yeah.
Are those conventions more about like doing this karma kanda section, Prabhu, or it's?
Yeah, part of it. I mean, that in that culture, it was karma kanda. In today's culture, material conventions mean something else.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, I think Prabhupada is speaking of a very elevated platform like Kardam Muni. For Kardam Muni, he doesn't have to do that, right? He doesn't have to care. Like there is another verse where, this a person in prema who is relishing the holy names is given like Evam Ratasva Priyanam Kirtya Jatanuraga Dhurtachitta Uchchai Hasatya Ato Roditi Rauti Gayatya Unmadavan Nrityati Loka Bahaya. So he's experiencing ecstasy and he doesn't care about what the outside world is saying. So,
So,
I mean,
yeah, wonderful. So there's one more verse which talks about this particular thing. So when Prabhupada mentions devotees in the verse that was pulled up before by Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu, and the one that you just said, Prabhu. So actually, when Prabhupada says devotees in that context, he's actually meaning pure devotees.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And if you pull up this one verse, Prabhupada, I promise we'll end with this. If you pull up 3:7-17, Srimad Bhagavatam 3:7-17. I gave a class to Cincinnati Bhakti Vriksha this week. So I quoted this verse. So here it says, there are only two kinds of people, the lowest of fools and he who is transcendental to all intelligence, that is Paramahamsas. It's actually translated as Paramahamsas later, in happiness, whereas persons between them suffer the material pangs. So, so pretty much we belong to somewhere in between. We are not the lowest of fools, nor are we Paramahamsas. So basically, while in this world, we have to, if there are some rituals that are recommended, we have to do it. But our goal is different. Our goal is to come out of this cycle of birth and death. But because we are in this body, we have to do certain rituals. But that is not the all and end all. That is the point. But we have to do the rituals according to what we are capable of and according to what is recommended. But but we understand as devotees that is not the topmost.
Yeah.
Let me
I think
also-
that understanding is the most important thing. That
Yes.
even
let me
Even
also
like
add
in Prithu
something.
Maharaj's pastime, Prabhu, like the Prabhupada has elaborated purport how he did all the rituals, yagyas, and then but his intention was to please Lord Vishnu. And then,
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. I think I was also going to make the same point, which is the intention is really important. By ignoring the rituals, if we use the time in this material entanglement, then we would not have served any purpose. But if you're doing Harinam and you don't get the time to do Pindadan on that particular day, God will understand because God knows our intention there.
Yeah, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur prayed to Bimla Devi for a kid who can help him in spreading Krishna consciousness and fighting with all the upasampradayas.
Yeah, beautiful example. Thank you.
So
Actually, Varnashram Dharma is not a limb of bhakti. Actually, it was clearly mentioned in the Bhakti BRS. Varnashram Dharma, Ahimsa, vegetarianism, all these are not limbs of bhakti. They just promote you. Yeah.
So Bhagavad Dharma is completely different from Varnashram Dharma. So there are Bhagavad Dharma, Varnashram Dharma, and Apad Dharma, the three dharmas. So Bhagavad Dharma is completely independent and superior to Varnashram Dharma. But because we are in this world, we have to do Varnashram Dharma according to our Varnas and Ashramas and not think that we can neglect those responsibilities completely.
the Varnashram is a very controversial topic in ISKCON. Although I agree with what you all are saying, there is a whole group of people who say that we have to establish Varnashram the way it was during Vedic times, and Prabhupada's purpose was to do that in the West. So, yeah, but I don't want to open a can of worms here, but just
it can be long discussion.
So I think we can end here.
So
wonderful discussion. So thank you all so much. So next week I can lead the discussion, and then we need some readers. I don't want to keep sending repeated.
It's a nice opportunity to read Bhagavatam. Dear devotees, it's one of the main limbs of bhakti. So
that's
sorry,
true.
And I don't think as readers we are expected to say something. We can always say pass. I pass. Right? So that maybe that pressure we can relieve.
I'll make a mention of that next week.
Also, Prabhu, only problem is the readers when you are asking, they're little hesitant because they are not sure whether they are available on the date or not. So just later only you specifically ask somebody to sign. Readers no need to sign on the day. So whoever is available, they will take lead. I'll read. So voluntarily they'll come spontaneously on the spot. Then they can read it. So suppose if you are asking to sign up, maybe I may be hesitant, like, no, because I'm available on the date or not. So what I feel is just ask to sign up for a leader. Leaders will choose. They will voluntarily come and read on the day.
Yeah, that is also good, Prabhu. But the fact that the whole idea that we had was the readers would read a little bit ahead of time and then come prepared. That is one way that we can churn the Bhagavatam even more. And also the second thing is if you sign up, then you'll be there for
Mm.
sure. So these were the two reasons why we had people signing up, because if nobody
Yeah,
signs up, then nobody may even show up.
Yes, yeah, I agree. That is valid reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
But
you.
this
The
is so
devotee-
invaluable, Prabhu, that by not showing up, I would be the loser.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think the reading will continue, but I would be but anyway, everybody has, we all have things to do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So thank
And,
you all, dear devotees. It was a wonderful discussion again. I really like this churning of the Bhagavatam. I look forward to it actually every Tuesday. So thank you. So Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Anantakoti
Anantakoti
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Jai Shri
Jai.
Prabhupada
Jai Jai
Ki Jai
Jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu Ki Jai Nitya
Jai.
Hari
Gopal
Bol,
Jai
Gaura
Hindu
Bhakti
Kanya
Vrinda
Mata Ji Ki Jai Krishnan Prabhu Ki Jai Kamesha Prabhu Ki Jai Jagannath
Ki
Gopal Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
So,
Jai.
Prabhu, just a couple of quick announcements. So, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is here in US. If anybody wants to know when he'll be in your particular city, please message me privately. I will send you his schedule. And also, if you're interested in, so there is a new book that has come out, which is on the mind. If anybody wants to purchase that book, please message me. Also, I have Sukhawa Mataji's books with me for $40. You can get all 3 books. Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, I'm so sorry. I forgot to give you when you were at our home on Saturday, but I will give you next time.
I
Yeah.
also forgot.
Even I forgot to ask
I
you.
felt
It was
so
there in my
bad.
mind. but-
As soon as you left, I went to the room and I saw all 3 books. Are there.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
This Saturday, you can give. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
I'm coming anyway, so.
Yes. So if anybody is interested in Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's books, also he has calendars, 100 calendars. I will be having 100 calendars. Anybody is interested in the calendars, you can ask me. We'll ship it to your place. And if the new book on the mind, the title of the book is "You're Not the Mind," and 2 other books, old books. One is Ramayana, and the other one, Reincarnation, I think. Yeah, he's getting a few old books also. If anybody is interested, you can.
Ramayana by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. I mean, he translated it.
Ramayana by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. Yeah, it's a famous one of his famous books. Not
It's not
translated.
translation,
not
Prabhu. It's
translation.
lessons.
Lessons. Yeah.
Lessons. Okay. Awesome.
Lessons from the Ramayana. I have it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for amazing comments and this discussion. It's really, really helpful. Thank you for your valuable comments. And as we all discussed, please try to participate, as it's like a service also to Lord and to devotees, and it helps us also. It's very friendly discussion, so everyone is please requested.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Beautiful, Prabhu.
Hare
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.